Hi everyone, it's Julianne here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I created this birthday card using the Big Balloons Stamp and Die Set from ink to paper. Now I'm going to be starting out my card today by stamping both of those solid circle images that are included in the Big Balloon stamp set, and those are going to become the balloons that are on my card. I'm going to start out by stamping the larger balloon first, and I'm going to be stamping that with Meadow as well as Emerald City, and those are both Pinkfresh Studio inks. I'm going to start out by first stamping with my lighter color, which is the Meadow, and I'm going to be stamping that image twice down onto my cardstock to get a really nice solid impression. And then I'm going to be coming in with my darker color, which is going to be that Emerald City, and I'm just going to be adding that color to one side of the stamp. So that way when I stamp that image down again, it's going to create a natural looking shadow on the balloon. Now to make sure that my colors blend together seamlessly, I'll then restamp that entire image again using my lighter color of Meadow. For the smaller balloons on my card, I'm going to be doing the same way I stamped the larger one, but this time I'm going to be using Sparkling Rose for my lighter color, and then I'll be using Bubblegum for my darker color. But again, I'll be stamping the entire image using my lighter color of Sparkling Rose. And once I have a nice solid impression, I'll then come back in and add that bubblegum color to the edge of the balloon just to give it that natural shadow. And then in order to blend those colors together, I'll then stamp that entire image one more time using Sparkling Rose. Now once I have each one of my balloons all stamped out and ready to go, I'm now going to start working on stamping the tail of each of those balloons as well as a bow for the larger balloon. Now for each one of those, I'm going to be doing some heat embossing, and I'm going to start out by pre-treating my cardstock with some anti-static powder tool, and then once I have that done, I'm then going to be stamping the tails as well as that bow, each using some VersaMark ink. Now that powder is going to ensure that when I add the embossing powder to my images after they're already stamped out, that powder is only going to stick to the area where I have stamped it. So once I get each one of those images all stamped out, I'm then going to be using some Gina K gold embossing powder. And once I have each one of those images covered, I'm then just going to be using my heat tool in order to heat set those. Next, I use the Ornate Coverplate die in order to emboss a piece of black cardstock. This is definitely one of my favorite cover plates right now. I just love all of that great and beautiful detail that it leaves behind, especially when you emboss your cardstock like I have here. Next, I'm going to pull back out my Misty so that way I can stamp out my sentiment. And for that, I'm going to be stamping the sentiment Happy Birthday onto a piece of vellum. And I'm going to be stamping that sentiment using some more VersaMark ink. And I'm going to stamp that a few times to make sure that I get a nice solid impression. And then I'm going to be heat setting that sentiment using some fine white embossing powder. Next, off camera, I ran the delicate Doilies dies through my die cutting machine using some light gray cardstock. And I'm going to be adhering that die cut piece down to my embossed background using some liquid adhesive. I'm going to be adhering that die cut piece just slightly hanging off the edge. And once I've decided where I want that to go, I'll just trim off that little bit of excess that's hanging off the side. Next, I'm going to start working on deciding where I want each one of my balloons to go. And using some more liquid adhesive, I'll adhere that balloon to the left down to my background first. And then I'll be adding some foam adhesive behind the other two balloons before adhering that down to my background as well. Next, I'll be adhering both of the balloon tails as well as the gold embossed bow that I did earlier using some more liquid adhesive. Once I have everything adhered down to my card, I'm now going to start working on finishing up by assembling my card together, and I'm going to start out by adhering down my sentiment that's on that piece of vellum from earlier. Now I left that vellum a little bit bigger than the A2 size card base itself, that way I could wrap it around the edges in order to adhere it down. So for that, I'm just going to add some adhesive on the side of the flaps that I've created, and I'm going to be adhering each one of those flaps onto the back of that embossed background. Once that's all adhered, I'll then be adhering my background down to my A2 size card base. And then to finish off this birthday card, I'm going to be adhering a few gold confetti mixed sequins throughout my background. And once I get each one of those adhered, that's going to complete this birthday inspired card using the Big Balloons Stamp and Die Set. Now, after I finished this video, I really felt as though this card just needed a little bit something extra, so I did splatter some gold perfect pearls onto each one of those balloons just to add some additional gold throughout the card, and then that's what really completed my card for today. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe for even more card making ideas. If you are interested in any of the supplies I used today, I will have all of those listed and linked down below in the description box. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time, and happy crafting!